But here's my favorite twist. I think that Jesus and vampires, or the vampire genre, have a lot in common.
Okay. 1, 2, ready, go.
Welcome to the Called to Be Bad podcast. My name is Mariah Martin, and I feel called to be bad. It turns out I'm not the only one. Join us as we dig into all things bad, scandalous, deviant, you know, the stuff that makes good church folks squirm in the sanctuary. Why? Well, because sometimes the scandalous is spiritual, deviant is divine, and bad is beautiful. Say yes to the call, and let's see what holy trouble we get into today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bad Thoughts with Mariah. This week is going to be a quick and dirty episode because it is Sunday afternoon, and so the bathtub is really calling my name. Oh, and also happy Halloween, everybody. Here's my a piece of my Halloween costume. I was a snail for Halloween, so yep. So anyways, I am going to, we're going to just have a quick little chat, and I'm going to be painting my fingernails while we talk. So yeah, I want to hear about your guys' Halloween. How was it? What did you dress up as? What's your favorite costume you've ever dressed up as? I want to know all those things. So message me, text me, write me on Instagram. I want to hear about it. You're going to hear some nail polish sounds in the background. So today is our last Bad Talks with Mariah, which maybe you're excited about to get into season 2. Maybe you are liking this series and want it to continue. But I could see doing this in between each of the seasons. So maybe we'll do some variation of it in the future. I'm shaking my nail polish so that there's no bubbles in it. Someone told me instead of shaking it that you're supposed to roll it in your hand, and then that helps reduce the bubbles. I don't know, but that's what I do now. I'm gonna go with pink. We're gonna do this color. I don't know. It's like a rosy pink. And so today we're going to talk about vampires, which is very fitting for Halloween, and vampires and blood and Jesus. And then I'm also going to share a little bit about what to expect, what's coming up, what's exciting for season 2 of Called to Be Bad. And I was going to say y'all. I don't really say y'all. I don't know. But you all just sounds weird. Everybody, all you baddies out there, I am so excited for season 2. I'm counting down the days. I cannot wait for you all to listen to these episodes. Because just so far, just some of the episodes that I've already recorded are awesome. I have amazing guests on, and we talk about some really cool topics. So we're going to get a little bit into that after we talk about vampires. So as I said last episode, when people ask me, Mariah, what's your bad topic? What's your favorite bad thing to talk about? One of my many topics is vampires. I love vampire movies, vampire books, vampire TV shows. Somehow the kind of gore or violence or whatever that occurs during those shows, because it's like supernatural violence and doesn't feel real, it doesn't bother me. It's not scary to me, or it doesn't like turn me off enough that I don't want to watch the show. And I am so attracted to, I love the idea of how vampires make everything larger than life, because they often are depicted as super, like they're everything that you would want in life in a human, but more. They're normally super like otherworldly attractive, just like absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, perfection, and they're often really wealthy because they've lived for a very long time. They're extremely strong. They have uncanny strength and quickness and speed and very dexterous. I don't know that I've ever used that word in a sentence before. That's a new one. I've read it, but I don't know. Dexterous. I hope I used it right. Tell me in the comments if I used it wrong. Well, that was really quick. I painted my nails really fast. That makes me want to like paint over it. Maybe we'll do the sparkly over top a little bit. That might ruin it. We'll see. We'll try. And yeah, it's just, I love how vampire shows, they get to the heart of what it means to be human and what it means to be mortal. And it's just very, very visceral in all the ways. And I think it's a very safe space to safe, like as in like you're watching a show and you're playing out these ideas in your head rather than real life. It's a very safe space to explore some unsafe or maybe scary or uncomfortable topics like mortality, like blood, like what it means to be human and have the desires, the drives that we all have. Like, I don't know, it is such an interesting window into the human experience because it's holding up what it means to be human against this like supernatural reality. Plus, it's just fun to like imagine like, okay, what if there are creatures that exist that defy our human imagination? What if there's fairies or werewolves or zombies, you know? I don't know. It's fun to imagine. It's fun to imagine that. I have fun imagining that. And it takes me out of my serious headspace into a place of creativity and fantasy. And I just love it. I am a sucker. I'm a sucker for the vampire movie genre. I've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I have watched Vampire Diaries and the spinoff, the original, and the other spinoff, Legacies. Well, I've watched Vampire Diaries and the originals multiple times. I've read a few vampire books, although there's more that I could read. So if you have any recommendations of good vampire shows, I've actually not read the original Vampire Diaries books. So let me know if they're any good. I don't know. I'm a little bit afraid it will ruin the show for me. So I haven't read it yet. Yeah, so I've consumed quite a bit of vampire media, which could be surprising for a pastor. Maybe not. I don't know. I find it fascinating. In no way do I feel like it contradicts any of my... Well, maybe that's why I like it, because it does contradict my Christian morals, and I mean, they talk about, like, death and killing a lot. But here's my favorite twist. I think that Jesus and vampires, or the vampire genre, have a lot in common. Because Jesus invites us, his life and death and resurrection, invite us into an exploration of what it means to be human, what it means to be mortal, what happens to us when we die. Is there such a thing as an afterlife? What does that mean? What do we do with that? And because of this, because Jesus invites us to reckon with our own mortality, we have then Christian practices that have to do with blood, that have to do with consuming blood, drinking blood. And we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about how when we practice the Eucharist, when we partake in communion, we are talking about drinking blood. I don't know if I've shared this story on this podcast before, but one of my favorite memories when I was an intern was I was leading, I don't remember if I was leading, but someone was leading the Eucharist, which we always did before our shared meal together after the service. While they were saying the words of institution and talking about the cup and talking about Jesus' blood shed for us, one of the little kids started whispering, "They're talking about blood. They're talking about blood, about drinking blood." And the mom was like, shh, like trying to corral this child. And I was like, but she's right though. We're talking about drinking blood. Now, Do we believe it is literal blood? That depends on your tradition, on your Christian tradition. But we're still, even if it's symbolic, we are still talking about eating flesh and drinking blood. And we're not going to reckon with the cannibalistic and vampiristic, connotations that come with that. We're going to pretend like that's a normal, not strange, creepy, cultic thing to do, to talk about. I wrote a paper in seminary comparing Jesus and vampirism and drinking blood. In that paper, I explored how Jesus interacted with taboo, what was considered taboo in his culture and in his tradition, and how blood was one of those things that was considered taboo. One of the earliest kind of laws was do not drink the lifeblood of an animal. And so Jesus in the Eucharist is interacting with that kind of taboo. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about vampires and Jesus. I don't have any profound theological statements to leave you with other than like, what in the world? What's going on between Jesus and blood and vampires? And like, it must come down to something about like the essence of life and Jesus interacting with the essence of our life, of who we are, of, and I don't know, like both vampires and Jesus, they just cut to the core of what it means to live and walk and move in this world. There, that's my statement. And like I said, please give me your vampire recommendations or any other supernatural fantasy recommendations. Movies, books, TV shows. I will take it all. But before we go, I want to share a few teasers for what's to come in season 2. And don't hold me to these because, things could go wrong last minute. I don't want to promise that these topics will be published as episodes, but these are potential topics, likely topics that we are going to cover in season 2. Potential bad topics for the podcast, polyamory, or participating in a non-monogamous relationship. We are going to talk about tattoos. We are going to talk about porn. We are going to talk about the bad women in the Bible. We are going to talk about witches/witchcraft. We are going to talk about disability theology. We are going to talk about role-playing games as spiritual direction. What? We're going to talk about what it means to be a bad church, what it means to be a wild church. What else off the top of my head? Oh, Christianity being a cult, which does kind of fit with what I was saying. It's going to be so good. So bad it's good. Something like that. I'm so excited. Okay. All right. Have a great day. I need to go take a bath. I love you all. Also, my hair is not greasy. This is oil. I am trying to facilitate scalp health. So this is oil that I have in my scalp before I go shampoo and condition and do all things curly girl. That's a different episode. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you for season 2. I'm so excited. Okay. Bye. Love you all. That's all for this episode of Called to Be Bad. Keep being your bad, beautiful selves, and I will see you next time.